And so you got done in Sacramento, and then off you went in your 15-person van, all 12 of you, packed in your 15-person van and drove down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, right?
Actually, there were 13 of us at
13,
that time,
okay.
but now there's 12.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but that's, you have two special people that are specially over and doing a special assignment.
Yep, so here, during this project, there's 10 of us.
There's 10 of you here, okay, right now in Great Falls. So you drove down to Santa Fe and you built homes for Habitat for Humanity. And that must have been right immediately out of the blocks. You're already doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
right?
it was cool.
Okay,
Definitely.
and we're going to talk now about, Adam, about New Orleans and your experience in New Orleans. And other folks I've talked to that have been down there, even now. When did the hurricane happen down there? That was
August 28th of 2005.
of 2005.
The end of August 2005.
So we're about 3 years out.
3 years later, New Orleans is
And I
still
hear
a
it's
mess.
still, you can't, it looks like a war zone.
It's ridiculous. There are houses that are still, basically standing, but collapsed upon themselves and filled with mold and debris and could be, animal remains. Like, it's still a mess.
All over.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's talk about what you do generally in terms. Each person in your team has a special assignment or a role they play in the team. What's yours?
I'm the team's peer helper.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, let's talk a little bit about that first, and then we'll go back to New Orleans and what you're doing there. What does a peer helper do?
Well, my role, which I sort of selected because of my interest in psychology, sort of relevant, basically to try and mediate any kind of conflict that might appear with the team, but also to promote just good team dynamic.
Okay.
Sort of that kind of team bonding stuff that comes about.
Sure. Okay, and how do you do that?
Very well. If an issue arises, I have certain resources that I could talk to the relevant parties involved. We maintain confidentiality, but if it's a serious issue, the resources are there for us or for them, and just creating a positive team environment, encouraging, being supportive.
Do you receive like special training or materials you read to do that?
Yeah. We had some training during our month and during our transition phases too with the campus counselor.
Okay, and it's my understanding that in the team itself, I mean, you will change roles. I mean, you will have. Is that right, or have you keep the same role? Pretty
generally,
much
other roles people have changed. I've been consistently
doing that. Okay, and so let's say Glory attacks Lucas, then you're going to step right in there, right? Go, Glory, get back.
Yeah, I don't really foresee Glory.
I don't see that either. I don't either.
Fortunately, we all get along quite well, so it's been good.
So you haven't had to do any major repairs and
No, I mean we have had little things that come up, but I think that's normal when you're traveling with a group of 12 young people and living in such tight quarters. Little things happen, but we work them out. I love my team.
Yeah. I imagine you've made friends and you will continue to keep those relationships your entire life.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Because you are living together. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It's very intense. Yeah.
That's amazing to me that you guys have been able to do this and that you have maintained cohesion, for 10 months and sometimes some pretty stressful situations.
Yeah, I mean, they're my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Close.
That's very cool. And so how would you rank that as one of the things you've learned from being a volunteer? That's got to be way up there. The learning how to live and get managing relationships,
interpersonal relations. That's incredibly important. I mean, people skills that's valid into anything you go to.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's totally relevant, and it's been a great experience.
Do you come from a big family?
No, I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
And my mom and dad.
Yeah. So having the older sisters is probably a big help too, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I know when I interviewed Lucas last week, and Lucas only had the one brother, so it must have been a little difficult for him to adjust to living with females, having never been married.
Okay, yeah, I guess in that dynamic, I was sort of used to sharing a bathroom and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't know, maybe you get a little bit more of it in college nowadays with co-ed stuff, but Let's talk about New Orleans and what you saw down there. What did you do? What did your team do when you were in New Orleans?
Well, we had, since we were down there for 2 months, we were trained on basically building houses. So we would break off into tiny groups. We'd work maybe 2 or 3 of us at a time. And it wasn't just our team of 12 down in New Orleans. There were, at any given time, 6 or 7 other AmeriCorps teams from all over the country, not just Sacramento. So we'd all work together, and we'd be basically assigned to a house, a site, and usually we had one site supervisor, and they would sort of, walk us through the steps of building a house. As we got more into it, a few of us went out and we sort of managed our own site, and we oversaw, I guess there'd be 20 volunteers every day on our site. We sort of managed that and helped them. And they helped us, help New Orleans.
So what you were doing is you're building a house from the ground up?
Yep, from the foundation.
Okay, so they got a foundation there, and then you get pulled in a team or several teams together, 20 people, like you say, on a site. And then you all kind of pitch in and pound nails and push boards up.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, there's a little more order to it, but yeah,
Yeah.
So something like that.
So it's actually the actual hands-on construction of a house.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, my dad is very handy, and so I had learned some of that from him. But I feel very confident. I mean, certainly I don't think I could build a house myself without help. But I could probably walk you through the steps, and I feel confident in that. So that's been awesome.
That is awesome.
Skills that I'll definitely use when I become a homeowner, hopefully myself.
What did you, I mean, you said that you eventually learned enough that you went off and supervised another site, right? But before you got to do that, what kinds of things are you doing? Right? And when I say you're pounding, you're literally pounding nails, right?
Yeah, pounding nails. Assembling walls.
Sheetrock, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, see, we hadn't done the sheetrock. They actually subcontract that out.
Okay.
But we were there during the Jimmy Carter work week. So there were thousands of people coming down to New Orleans at that time. And the site that I was specifically on, we were working sort of as the factory component warehouse. We were assembling all the windows and door frames for all of the houses. At the time, they were working on building 30 houses and having 7 of them blitz build in 1 week.
Blitz build?
Yep. So we had built the components for 30 houses. So we had teams organized into building door frames, window frames, and then walls, because we were doing this on 2 houses that we were also working on at the same time. So we had a lot of people managing different things.
Wow. Did you do the same thing in Santa Fe?
No, Santa Fe. See, it was interesting because Habitat, I mean, it's cool because we got to see how different chapters operate. Santa Fe, the weather, unfortunately, was pretty cold, and the 2 house sites that they were going to have us work on, they couldn't lay the foundation because of the weather. So we actually got into a warehouse and we built the walls for the house, but we didn't actually assemble them in Santa Fe. But they were ready to go.
Okay.